Thank you all for this opportunity. I'm so thrilled to be here at Notre Dame, and I think it's particularly wonderful that the head of this program has a degree in both urban planning and philosophy, because in a sense, we all need to be philosophers, right? That's one of the ways that we understand ourselves, we understand the church, and we understand how to be a good citizen of the world. And yesterday, I went to the Basilica for Mass, and on one of the lintels it says, God, country, and Notre Dame, in that order. And I thought, wow, they really love their school. But then I realized they're not talking about Notre Dame University or the football team Notre Dame. We're talking about the church. We're talking about Our Lady, who is a type of the church. And she is our touchstone, the church, to eternity. And that's how we understand ourselves, right? That we are on a mission to be eternal, eternally in the presence of God. So like Maddie, we all have to be part philosopher, part professional, if we really want to understand what it is to thrive. So I bring up this idea of sprinting because when I was in high school, I ran the mile. That was a long time ago. And I've been familiar with this new philosophy of fourth quarter because of, you probably have heard of Matthew Kelly, who has this new program on living your fourth quarter well. I'm about to turn 60. So in your fourth quarter is your final lap, right? So when you're running the mile, in the fourth quarter, a gun goes off and you realize this is it. Like, I got to run fast now. All the cheering and exhaustion and exhilaration means I want to win the race, right? So this is where we're at when we're 60 years old. So I'm wanting to promote and encourage others to think about using church properties for those in our fourth quarter, right? Those who are older, those who are wanting to extend all their energy and their wisdom and their professional expertise, really nurturing their souls in this fourth quarter. Because in that fourth quarter, we need a lot of things, right? Well, first of all, we've had a longer life, so we may need some healing. We may need to be reconciled in some way. We may need to, feel that renewed sense of mission that maybe was very obvious when we were younger. We were maybe raising children or very involved in our professional lives. But in our fourth quarter, it's a little bit different, right? We've come a long way. So what I'm hoping to do is propose a development strategy and an operation strategy so that people can really thrive in their fourth quarter. So it involves the person and it involves the church because they go hand in hand, right? Where the person thrives, the church thrives, the community thrives. So my company kind of helps toggle between both entities, both the individual and the church. So there's this circular ecosystem of flourishing so that we don't just have soulless buildings, which many of you may have been involved with creating apartment buildings next to churches, but maybe the operations don't necessarily connect back to the church. What we need is a sense of mission at age 60 and over that is very well defined, right? So in a sense, my big goal is to recast that idea of retiring and getting older. So I have this mantra, 3 tenths. You all are familiar with the story of the Transfiguration, right? That our Lord appears to Peter, James, and John with the prophet Elijah and Moses. And Peter is so overwhelmed, he wants to stay. He wants to build something. He wants to build 3 tenths, right? He wants it to be a place where he can stay. And in the Catholic Church, we have that. Right now, we have this sense of being in the presence of God, right? We have the tabernacles, we have the Eucharist, and we can rediscover that we've been made in the image of God for eternity, for a particular mission, with the help of the sacraments, with the help of that accompaniment. So my goals as principal is to be the quarterback, really, to get the ball down the field, right? To get this development done, because we know we have these assets. We have buildings, we have land. We may have existing buildings, we may have buildings we need to reuse. And I want to help the church integrate the mission and the stewardship, the mission of, and promote that mission-based stewardship. And then also redefine, as I mentioned, what it is to retire, what it is to grow old, help people to reharness their their talents and their gifts and have that sense that they're there to serve others. I also want to help create beautiful, person-centered spaces. So in order for that person to thrive, they need a place, right? They need the studios, the mentorship spaces, the relationship spaces that are not only beautiful, but help enhance that sense of mission. So my role would be consultant. I'm also a co-developer. So my professional work has been interesting, right? I'm an elder law attorney. So an elder law attorney is both a trust and estates attorney and a social worker. So I have both of those aspects of my work. I also have a small concierge elder care business. So I'm very involved in people's lives. And I had a hiatus, and I'm working right now in the area of affordable housing development. So I've done those three things, and it helps me see that there's a need for this integration because I'm in people's living spaces, whether that's their homes or their assisted livings or their skilled nursing facilities. And although there may be a tabernacle in some of those places where they're in even daily mass, there's not that integration and accompaniment that connects the person to their mission and to that sense of being part of a church. So in order to really achieve this mission, you really have to own the property. So you parish, you religious order, or you diocese have to kind of reclaim the ability to manage your own properties. And if you can't do it, to at least strategize to do that with my help. Because I've had some unfortunate experiences of visiting some places that have, they're owned by the diocese or they're owned by a part of the diocese, and they have no sense of Catholic mission. So operations is very important, the day-to-day management. And from a little group of people I know, I'm proposing that we program with recognition that people need deep and inspiring programming. They need to be reminded of their mission. They need to be told they've been made as co-creators, right? They need that perspective that they're destined for eternal life and that they're unique and unrepeatable, and God is counting on them for something very specific in life, even if they're sick, or even if they're disabled or suffering, that suffering has transcended value. So I'm working on a pilot right now near my home in Millis, Massachusetts. This is St. Thomas. It's an aerial view. And I come in contact with them because I go to daily mass there sometimes, and the priest is super vibrant. He wants to build a new parish center, and he's looking at millions of dollars in outlay. You can see that this church is right in the middle there. They have a lot of land. Then there's a little circular site there that belongs to the town, and that's an old railroad station. So we're working with the town right now to kind of co-develop, utilize that space for parking, and build between 24 and 50 units of elderly housing, and connect that elderly housing to their goal of building a parish center and kind of sort of agreeing to share that space. So the problem we're having in this site, I would say, this parish priest is all alone. He's vibrant, as I said, has a great following, but the diocese is telling him, sell the property, sell your other property. So he has a parish center that's inadequate down the road. He has a rectory that he doesn't want. He wants a new rectory. It's too big. And they're asking him to sell, and they're connecting him to a real estate agent, a commercial real estate agent. So of course that commercial real estate agent wants to make money. They want to make the highest possible commission, and therefore kind of they're pricing themselves out of working with a nonprofit. So it's unfortunate that there's no sort of subsidiarity, as someone mentioned, this principle of subsidiarity, letting the parish priest do his own project. So I'm proposing instead that he not sell the property, that he ground lease it to this third-party entity that will result. This third-party entity will be a partnership between a larger developer, myself, and this small parish group, so that we can keep the management, the ownership, and the operations and development all under one roof. So that's how I'm helping. We're going to build the parish center. There will be a cash flow with this affordable housing. There will also be a ground lease payment, which will be money and capital, and there will be also ongoing income through the revenue. This is just a sample of what they're doing at this parish, so you can see that this parish priest means business, right? He's trying to he has a sense of mission. He wants to bring people back, and he cares about the soul, individual souls, right? So he has daily mass, he has Eucharistic adoration every day, he has confession every day. And these are really the building blocks for a healthy parish. So we're going to do well in the competitive process when we apply for low-income housing tax credits and affordable housing HUD-based money because of this commitment he has to the parish and his very vibrant community. So he offers, I was just bringing that up because sacrament of confession is so important, right? That we talk a lot about being Catholic, but this idea of being reconciled is very important for each person, right? Person being reconciled within themselves, with other people, with the world at large, right? So I was thinking about my own experience as an attorney. I hear a lot about family problems. I hear a lot about people who are isolated, and perhaps there's resentment and difficulties, and what this person really needs is a good confession versus a will or a trust, because sometimes they ask me to write into their will or trust, I haven't seen this son of mine or this brother of mine, I don't want them in my will. And I ask them, do you really want to leave this legacy of difficulty? I mean, this is going to hurt someone. So what we really need is, in these elderly communities, is opportunity for confession. People need to relearn it too, right? We're evangelizing about that constantly, that I think that people are afraid to go to confession because they forget how to go. It's been so many years. So this is important, and why would we want to do affordable housing? Because it's lucrative, right? Right now, the developer fee for a $30 million project is probably $2 million. I'm just throwing it out there. It's around that. That $2 million can be shared with all the development team. So it's lucrative. There's also cash flow. It's necessary. There's a huge crisis right now with affordable housing in every community. And then we're also complying with Catholic social teachings, right? Taking care of the poorest of our community. And affordable housing, we know, is a big spectrum, right? You can, in my community, if you make $90,000, that's the area median income in Sherborne, Boston area. That's just on the cusp of needing affordable housing. So there's 80% of that, 60%, 30%, and then public assistance. So all of that can be included in your development, and you'd be being a great steward on many levels. And then just the idea of, again, going back to flourishing, that teaching people individually that their life is transcendent, right? That everything they do can be offered to God, their work, their service, their talents, their gifts, and that God is a merciful God, right? He's forgiven, he'll forgive us. This is the name of the priest. I can't pronounce it. He's from Croatia. But he's reaching out all the time and telling people God is there for you, and that, we share that as we flourish as adults, we will also help the parish life flourish. So just a little bit about me. I've been an elder law attorney for 17 years. I have this home health organization that helps me sort of get into people's lives at a very deep level, including helping them go back to the sacraments. And then I'm a former housing development consultant. So that's it. I just wanted to see that, just concluding that, we want to solve the problem of helping elders live well, like really live out their best years in their fourth quarter. And part of that is accepting their situations, right? Accepting their suffering and loss, but also helping them to live out with their mission, which includes sharing talents. And I was thinking about a friend of mine named Jane, who died a few years ago. She died at age 60. She had spent the last 5 years of her life taking care of Alzheimer's, a woman, friend of hers who had Alzheimer's. She happened to predecease her. But when I talked to her, like very close to her death, I said, Jane, how are you doing? And she said, I hope I do well. and I knew she wasn't talking about getting better. I knew she wasn't talking about leaving, the hospital. She was talking about her judgment. She was talking about her judgment. She was a devout Catholic, and she knew she had done all she could, really, and lived a sacramental life, and shared her talents. So that's what 3/10 is all about.